Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. It is January of 1945 in our game. It's about to be February. China has been overrun, Chongqing has fallen, Kunming is the next target that will likely fall. The Japanese may invade Burma and India through China, but China has not yet surrendered. There's still several Chinese units up near Umrichi, which is the final Chinese capital. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, the Allies are beginning to gear up for a spring landing in Japan. They're not quite ready for that yet. We have 2 Marine units in Okinawa. We also have a airborne unit in Okinawa. We have a Marine unit in Iwo Jima. We will have 2 armored units in the Marianas, as well as probably 2 land units, although we're slightly diverted at the moment trying to reduce Truk, another Japanese national morale center. We're doing that because the fleet is currently in the process of overhauling and refitting back at Perth, so they're repairing their damage and getting ready for an eventual drive on Japan. We probably won't be ready for that until March or April, and that's just the reality of it, because I need to get the fleet up to full strength. And then one thing that someone did recommend when I posted a video online today was that rather than just land in Japan, I should probably also land in Seoul, because that is an alternate capital for the Japanese if all their mainland Japan cities fall. So it might not be a bad idea to send 2 ground units to South Korea to take Seoul in conjunction with landing in Japan. But we'll see. With that being said, that's the situation in the Far East. Not a term I think you hear used very often anymore. But anyway, that's the situation in I guess Asia, and the situation in Europe is not great. Russia's about to fall. Moscow might fall this turn. It depends on the weather. It depends on if the Germans aggressively attack with these units that have suffered a few casualties, or if they wait a turn to reinforce. But the morale of the troops in Moscow is abysmal. It is surrounded on 3 sides. It is a salient on its own. And the other problem here is that there's a rail line linking Moscow to Perm, the alternate Soviet capital, but that rail line is in danger. If the Germans push just a little bit further north, we will have no way to operate troops into the alternate capital, and these guys will kind of be stranded up here. I don't think there's any supply cities up here. We could potentially rail north to try and retake Archangel and divert the Germans there, but we wouldn't be able to pull these troops back out to Perm, so that would be a problem. Meanwhile, in Europe, the Americans have pulled back to Spain. The Germans are advancing there, and that's the situation for those troops in Spain. In England, the Americans have arrived and are preparing for a counteroffensive. We could go for Copenhagen. That's what a few people suggested in the first part of the other day's stream that I posted on my YouTube channel, was instead of going for Norway, which is mountainous and supply problematic, is to go for Denmark and try and take Copenhagen. It also has a nice little land bridge to Germany. It might divert some German troops toward you, and it could also allow you to easily defend the place because there's only 1 hex across, and maybe even get down into like Hamburg. So I'm not sure if we'll do that. That'll probably get us in as bad of a situation as we were in Spain, where open terrain kind of works against us and a lack of air power really hurts our ability to defend our positions. But we could, air over British air units. We could use our carriers to help protect our units from enemy bombing attacks. We'd have to see. I am planning a scrap against the German fleet in the north, so we just destroyed a German submarine here off the coast of Scotland. I am planning on bringing the majority of my fleet north to try and knock out the German high seas fleet up north in the Norwegian Sea, but I need good weather to do that because the primary strength of my force is behind aircraft carriers, and right now the weather isn't great up there, as it is probably not for most of the year. With that being said, let's go ahead and end the turn and see what the Axis has in store for us. Venezuela has joined the Allies, so hopefully that improves our economy a little bit. Greek partisans continuing to disrupt supplies. Partisan activity in China raises up new troops. All right, so the Japanese aren't adequately garrisoning the partisan hex in China, so there's at least 1 partisan unit there. The British are making some technological development in production technology. They've developed industrial technology level 4, which is good for our income. The U.S. develops ASW warfare level 3, which is great because the Germans have a ton of subs. And there you have it. USSR income's down to 376. They're getting 100% supply from the UK, but I guess there's a reduction due to winter. Also because they're spending some to defend territorial waters. British income is 439. getting reduced convoy routes due to German raiders. So again, that's why the ASW is so important. Okay, so the partisans give us some recon of Japanese units in China. You can see they're moving some of their Marines into Kunming, so that'll fall. That'll hurt Chinese national morale. The Japanese are using the battleship they have to bombard our troops on Okinawa, and for some reason their battleships work and ours don't. I don't get that. We'll have to move our naval fleet at Truk out that direction to see if we can't knock them out. Hopefully we've got good enough weather to do it. I think that's like another Yamato-type battleship. Although I thought it was it was the Shinano, which I think was a third Yamato-class battleship that they eventually converted into an aircraft carrier historically. Okay, it's February. It looks like the weather's pretty good, not in the Norwegian Sea, and the German battle fleet is sailing south to engage us in a gunfight. What are they doing there? Japanese bombers are hitting Rangoon and Bangkok. Long-range bombers, apparently. Our fighters, meanwhile, providing a little bit of cover over our Indian Special Forces units, but those Japanese tactical bombers still doing quite a bit of damage there. They took out half that Special Forces unit, despite the fact that we had interceptors get in their way. And there you can see another bombing raid. They've got more escorts. I'm not sure what... we lost an entire unit to enemy air. God, tactical air is so overstrength in this game. And yet, naval aviation is so understrength. Meanwhile, it looks like good weather over Moscow, which if the Germans attack is bad news bears for us. Lots of artillery pounding the city. The morale has got to be already abysmal. The supply situation's probably bad too with all those air raids. I think we're going to see the fall of Moscow this turn if the Germans attack. Mechanized forces are driving into Spain. German paratroopers finish off an American army there east of Bilbao. Spain is going to fall to the Germans. There's nothing I can do about that. I've pulled too many troops out. The supply situation's too bad. All right, so the attacks on Moscow have begun. The first army there attacked. It did a little bit of damage. We had some defensive artillery there out of Vladimir with our Katushka rockets against that second German army that was attacking. We'll see if they attack with their mechanized and infantry formations here. They're only at 60% strength, but I think that's probably still enough to finish us off. The partisans at least pulled some troops away. They did attack with that army adjacent to Moscow. Yeah, Ivan, I know the Japanese carrier was promptly sunk. And there goes their heavy tanks. God, they're so... I can't do anything against them. I think it's probably a morale thing, right? Because I don't think their supply situation in Spain is good either. The Indian unit problems is they have no anti-aircraft weapons. Meanwhile, Truk reinforces itself back up to level 8 strength. I mean, they've got one more unit adjacent that hasn't attacked Moscow yet. I kind of expected them to attack there, but they haven't yet. Subs approaching New Caledonia. Not sure what they're doing down there. They didn't finish off the partisans there, so that's at least a bit of a distraction. They've got like 5 Japanese units around Chongqing. Chinese morale suffers due to the fall of Kunming. Partisan activity in China near Chengchao. No troops rise up, but at least it hurts their income, I assume. All right, so Rangoon and Bangkok were damaged by bombing. The 77th Indian Special Forces were destroyed by air units primarily. London, Cambridge, and Maidstone damaged by bombing. 3rd U.S. Corps in Spain destroyed. The Sevastopol Corps and 4th Shock Army in Russia destroyed. And that's sort of what's going on there. Maybe we should just evacuate Spain at this point. Japanese have a carrier at Hong Kong. Interesting. I wonder if that's one of the carriers that we've already somewhat damaged. They've also obviously got a lot of land units in the home islands. The U.S. have the 82nd paratroopers coming. The Russians have the 1st Polish Corps, the 1st Corps, the 2nd Corps, and the 16th Rifle Corps to deploy this turn. They move that battleship up there? Still bad weather, so I can't hurt it. With air power, anyway. Our battleship will sail up there and engage these German battleships. Then the British have a battleship, don't they? Yeah, down here. It's not as good. The Americans have level 2 naval weapons. The Germans only have level 1, so the British are fighting the Germans on equal footing there. Can these American heavy cruisers get up there? This one can. It has level 2 naval weapons. Oh, but it can't. Ah, damn it, I'm not adjacent. Come on, sink him. This should be a nice national morale blow to the Germans. 660, 630. So nice little blow there as we destroyed that German capital ship. Pull these damaged ships back to repair. All right, so a good result there for us. That British carrier is fully ready. If the weather ever cooperates with us up north. This American heavy cruiser will repair. British destroyer repairing. We'll upgrade this carrier. Advanced fighters level 4. Repair these Canadian destroyers. Bring this 10th U.S. Army into Great Britain at Manchester. Okay. That's all the naval units there. So that destroys a German ship, although they actually must have built 2 this turn. Meanwhile, Japan's slowly rebuilding its fleet. It's up to 6 warships now. We know at least one of them is at Hong Kong. So I think it makes sense to... Our subs can't get down there. Damn it. Okay. We'll have to pull these tanks back. Alright, I'd rather not use my air power here. So I'm going to try and hurt these guys with amphibs. There we go. We got it. Truk is ours. So we suffered a few casualties, but we get the National Morale Center of Truk. Do we move toward Tarawa? That's the last National Morale Center in the Pacific that we haven't taken. I don't want to evacuate Moresby. These guys have used up their strikes, so we'll put the tanks back ashore. We could sail these guys down to Tarawa, but we'd probably need at least 2 other units to support. Or we could send our air wings against the Japanese at Hong Kong, but that might expose us to enemy air attack as well. Upgrade these guys. ASW level 3. Actually, I can't even reach there. Let's put these guys back ashore. I'm actually just going to put these guys ashore, work on reinforcing them. I'm going to fill our dockyards here. This is still a Japanese center. All right, so we took that there. All right, so I'm going to actually work on getting our ships upgraded to level 3 ASW if they're American, since we just developed that technology. I wonder if that affects the escort carrier's ability to attack subs as well. These guys, meanwhile, can go here at least and repair. This guy can get 1 repair unit from Davao. Alright, we'll pull this cruiser back toward Pearl in the interest of getting it repaired. These battleships have already been repaired and refitted, so we'll bring them west of the Marianas as we'll start to concentrate the fleet in that general vicinity. I'm going to try and get more of the British ships or not upgraded, but repaired. All right. Can we upgrade or repair anything here? No. So we'll bring this battleship back west. Reinforce this guy to full strength. Let's actually repair this carrier. I think we can upgrade the carriers at other locations. All right, this carrier is ready as well. All right, so this guy will be out of port next turn. These two, I think, will be out of port next turn as well. Well, no. So we'll have 2 port facilities open next turn. God, it takes so long. I should really send some of these guys back to the U.S. West Coast. Might have been a better idea. Yeah, it's a long way away, but with as long as it's taking. Can you upgrade ports to a major port? I didn't know you could do that. How do you do that? So if I upgrade a port, I just upgrade the anti-aircraft defense. I don't think I can actually upgrade the port. Unless you upgrade the settlement. Yeah, I don't see an option to upgrade the port. Hawaii ports? I don't see that option either, Reener. All right. You have time. You have everything but time, units, and money. So we're good. We're good then, right? Okay. All right, so that's probably about it in the Pacific. Got to reinforce these guys, which should be possible next turn. They've got enough supply there. What about Iwo or Okinawa? Okinawa does not apparently have enough supply. Great. That's going to be a problem. I wonder if we took Formosa, if that would be different. Wait. So the British have long-range amphibious transports now. Oh, but the Australians don't? The Commonwealth doesn't get it? Just the British? Well, what the hell? All right, well, since we lost Kunming, we might as well fall back a little bit. So we'll bring this Indian headquarter unit back toward Lashao, or Lashao. Move this guy down here. Reinforce this unit. Reinforce the air units, because those are absolutely vital. We can't afford to lose them. We need some air cover over these guys. pull these troops south. So we're going to pull back inside Rangoon. That should give us a better supply situation, I think. Maybe not this next turn because I pulled those guys out of that city. But I think once we're back in there and I get these guys into a city there, I'll have a slightly better supply situation. Okay, so what's the supply situation next turn? All right, 8, 9, nice. Oh, actually, we'll advance these guys to 7 there. Okay. All right, so we're slowly advancing into southern Iran with those troops there. India, we've pulled the majority of our troops back. China has 153 points left, economic points. I'm going to be silly probably and spend some of that on anti-aircraft defense. I'm going to do the same thing for India. It probably won't come in time for it to matter, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay. I should have done that a while ago, but I didn't. All right. So we're beginning to move the fleet back for the invasion of Japan. We are going to have to figure out what to do with this Japanese fleet that's a little bit resurgent. All right, so we found the battleship. I don't know why I didn't attack. Why I didn't. 8-0, really? Whoa! Don't attack that guy. So there's a battleship. They also have a destroyer in this area. And then there's a carrier down here. This is the... I don't know what carrier it is. We're consolidating our own naval forces, so I do aim to crush these guys. Probably mostly with carrier air, but we'll see. Reinforce these troops. Okay, are there new Chinese units? There are not. There's the US 82nd Airborne, which I think I'll deploy to Europe, seeing as we're about to lose Spain. Gonna throw this new headquarters unit on a transport, as well as this ranger unit. We'll send them up to Canadian ports because I think they can make a straight shot to Ireland from there. Keep them in port, keep them safe. I'm actually going to pull this garrison unit back somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. To get it out of the way. Maybe the Philippines? All right. I didn't want to leave Iwo Jima completely undefended when we advanced on Japan, but it's probably limiting how many troops I can forward deploy within close striking distance of the home islands. I'm not sure how packed in their ground units are. I imagine there's quite a few units here, but Japan only has a total of 66 ground units, and we know the vast majority of them are in China. We also know there's one over here in New Guinea. There's one on Rabaul. There's one in Guadalcanal. So I think they're a little bit spread out. There's one at least on Tarawa. What's Japanese morale look like anyway? 46%. Should drop a little bit lower after this turn because of the fall of Truk. Okay, so these guys will reinforce next turn. These guys, I don't think they'll be able to. Okay, so that's America. We already did Iran. We also did the naval. By the way, these battleships need to get up here. Can't do basically any recon anywhere. Oh, well, the Germans now have level 5 fighters. So I learned that the hard way. I was just trying to do some recon over the channel, and it turns out they've got level 5 fighters there. Lost half of a level 4 Spitfire to them. Great. Just great. What's our British research look like on fighters? Not even working on level 5. Remedy that. The Americans are working on level 5 meanwhile. ZZ29093, thank you very much for the follow. If I attack Japan, they get new units on Japan. Oh, I already got close to Japan and they generated new units. So you're telling me they get more beyond what they already have received? Because I basically went just offshore Japan with some warships, and then they spawned some new units. Can I see what new units they have? I thought I could only see what I'm producing. That would be crazy if I can see what they're producing. No, I can't see what the Japanese have coming. Just my own units. Okay. Let's reinforce those fighters. Well, that level 5 fighters is going to make fighting them less fun. I don't know. Maybe I should go for Denmark next turn or something like that. I think I need the weather to get a little better. It's raining, which wouldn't help. All right, let's go down to Spain. German mechanized troops they've got level 3, they've got 3 supply. My 7 supply army can't do any damage to them. I don't understand that. Their readiness is a little bit better, their morale is a little bit better, but I've never seen it be that dramatically ineffective against level 3 tanks. These guys aren't even any good. My level 5 tanks can't even scratch them. Their experience isn't even that high. What is going on? They're not even in mountainous terrain. They're in, well, I guess they are mountain. They're in mountainous terrain. Maybe that's it? I mean, it's not even a doctrine thing because I've got all the max research doctrine, all command and control, infantry warfare, armored warfare, all of that's maxed out for the Americans. That doesn't make any sense. Three to 1 will do it. Just to see. So we lose the casualties and then we get better odds. Because that makes sense. Well, I drove him back. Checker33, thank you very much for the follow. I completely compromised my own position in Spain, but I drove them back with very heavy loss. These guys are going to get obliterated by German air, probably. Let's pull this British headquarters unit out. Send it where? We've got one in the British Isles. I'm not even sure where we have any real British units. I mean, I can move them to Asia. There's some units there. I don't even know why I'm pulling them that far back. I can't repair these subs fully anyway. Okay, they're going to attack these garrisons. Hopefully they'll get bled a little bit so I can get these 2 American armies and headquarters out. I need to hold at least Gibraltar, though. So I should get an army down there and try and hold it. I want less valuable units on the front line there because they're going to crush it and break it. That's going to hurt the British the most because they have Madrid, so they get the Spanish income. I mean, I do have benefits for the Axis, but what I don't understand is they get a ×1 experience, but that shouldn't impact like a level 3 tank versus a level 5, and the level 3 just has 1 experience. Like, it's not... They shouldn't be invincible. Maybe we'll go for Sardinia. I think there's a small economic bonus for that. All right. So we'll reinforce the shock army in Moscow. Like, even this German heavy tank unit is completely out of supply, almost, and yet they can't do anything against him. I do not understand. They'll lose attrition eventually. Trying to do a little damage there, but to no avail. At least in some of these cases, it makes a little bit of sense because their Russian morale is so bad. Meanwhile, the German heavy tanks just crushed that shock army. It's like, oh, haha. Okay. Alright, let's pull this headquarter back a little bit. Send some infantry units into Perm. I'm going to put a new Russian... Do I have an army that just arrived? No, they're all corps, so I'll put one of these new corps in here. Again, the shock armies get nothing. It's like, oh, well, you can attack anti-aircraft units. Great. Now that I just undid all of my entrenchments. Alright, so we have 2 more corps. Also got a mechanized corps here. These guys have good supply. But they can't do anything there either? Alright. How's the supply for this German unit? Decent because it's a supply center. It's probably not a place I want to launch a counterattack. Okay. Alright, so the Soviets have 163. I think that's enough. Well, none of our corps apparently are... So we'll purchase a not fully built up shock army to arrive with our paratroopers and cavalry in April and May. All I mean, the Americans have a lot of money. We're kind of already dumping everything I want to for the Americans into research. So I guess I'll buy some new units. We can build one more paratrooper unit. We can build several more armies or corps. We are building artillery. You know what we really need is aircraft. I mean, realistically, I need tactical air. Maybe strategic bombers? Build one long-range bomber. I'll build one tactical bomber. Fighters are cheap. What's up with that? One fighter unit. So the Americans have a fighter, a long-range bomber, and a tactical fighter all coming later this year. Wow, the tactical fighters take a while. 2 armies coming in May, as well as a heavy tank unit, and some artillery coming in April. Soviets have a whole bunch of units still on the way. The British, not much of anything. They're spending all their money just trying to keep what they have. Okay. Core or corpse? Yes. Good one, P. Warner. Accurate in this case. All right, so I think that's going to do it for February. We took Truk, so that's good. We're in the process of pulling units back together and getting them ready for the invasion of Japan. I mean, really the only place we can use our amphibious bonus to an advantage is in the south near Nagasaki. We're going to need to use our naval air to crush the Shinano, as well as that destroyer there. They've got a light cruiser in there as well, and then they've got the carrier down here. So all that re-equipping of my air units is going to go somewhat to naught because we're going to lose casualties taking those units out. Sweden is still neutral, Sean Mac. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get this turn underway and see what March has in store for us. But with that being said, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here. Episode number 65 of our Strategic Command World War II World at War Let's Play series, playing as the Allies. Again, we're beginning that slow preparation for the invasion of Japan. We did take the island of Truk this turn, so that has finally fallen to us. And in our next episode, we'll see if we can hold out in Moscow for another turn. But that is for another time. Until another time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.